So, this one will be me reading to you a couple of spooky stories. So, it's literally 2:30 in the morning right now, and it's the quietest time to film, and it's also very dark, so I figured that now would be the best time to record this video, especially since my roommate is also at home for this weekend, so I have no problem whispering scary stories in the middle of the night, except for the fact that it will scare me. So if the scary stories that I read you are a little bit lame, the reason for that will be because I'm worried about scaring myself right before bed. So I'm just gonna read a couple to you, and I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right into it because I already have one pulled up on my computer. Susan and Ned were driving through a wooded, empty section of the highway. Lightning flashed, thunder roared, the sky went dark in the torrential downpour. "We'd better stop," said Susan. Ned nodded his head in agreement. He stepped on the brake, and suddenly the car started to slide on the slick pavement. They plunged off the road and slid to a halt at the bottom of an incline. Pale and shaking, Ned quickly turned to see if Susan was all right. When she nodded, Ned relaxed and looked through the rain-soaked windows. "I'm going to see how bad it is," he told Susan, and went out into the storm. She saw his blurry figure in the headlight, walking around the front of the car. A moment later, he jumped in beside her, soaking wet. "The car's not badly damaged, but we're wheel-deep in mud," he said. "I'm going to have to go for help." Susan swallowed nervously. There would be no quick rescue. He told her to turn off the headlights and lock the door until he returned. Axe Murder Hollow. Although Ned hadn't said the name out loud, they both knew what he had been thinking when he told her to lock the car. This was the place where a man had once taken an axe and hacked his wife to death in a jealous rage over an alleged affair. Supposedly, the axe-wielding spirit of the husband continued to haunt this section of the road. Outside the car, Susan heard a shriek, a loud thump, and a strange gurgling noise. But she couldn't see anything in the darkness. Frightened, she shrank down into her seat. She sat in silence for a while, and then she noticed another sound. Bump, bump, bump. It was a soft sound, like something being blown by the wind. Suddenly, the car was illuminated by a bright light. An official-sounding voice told her to get out of the car. Ned must have found a police officer. Susan unlocked the door and stepped out of the car. As her eyes adjusted to the bright light, she saw it. Hanging by his feet from the tree next to the car was the dead body of Ned. His bloody throat had been cut so deeply that he was nearly decapitated. The wind swung his corpse back and forth so that it thumped against the tree. Bump, bump, bump. Susan screamed and ran towards the voice and the light. As she drew close, she realized the light was not coming from a flashlight. Standing there was the glowing figure of a man, with a smile on his face and a large, solid, and definitely real axe in his hands. She backed away from the glowing figure until she bumped into the car. Playing around some more. It was 2 o'clock when she realized that she'd left one of her textbooks upstairs on her bed. With a dramatic sigh, she rose and climbed the stairs slowly to her 3rd-floor dorm room. The lights were dim in the long hallway, and the old boards creaked under her weary tread. She reached her room and turned the handle softly as she could, pushing the door open just enough to slip inside, so that the hall lights wouldn't wake her roommate. The room was filled with a strange metallic smell. She frowned a bit, her arms breaking out into chills. There was a strange feeling of malice in the room, as if a malevolent gaze were fixed upon her. It was a mind trick. The all-nighter was catching up with her. She could hear Jenna breathing on the far side of the room, a heavy sound, almost as if she had been running. Jenna must have picked up a cold during the last tense week before finals. She crept along the wall until she reached her bed, groping among the covers for the stray history textbook. In the silence, she could hear a steady drip, drip, drip sound. She sighed silently. Facilities would have to come to fix the bathroom sink again. Her fingers closed on the textbook. She picked it up softly and withdrew from the room as silently as she could. Relieved to be out of the room, she hurried back downstairs, collapsed into an overstuffed chair, and studied until 6 o'clock. She finally decided that enough was enough. If she slipped upstairs now, she could get a couple hours sleep before her 9 o'clock exam. The first of the sun's rays were beaming through the windows as she slowly slid the door open again, hoping not to awaken Jenna. Her nose was met by an earthy, metallic smell a second before her eyes registered the scene in her dorm room. Jenna was spread eagle on top of her bed against the far wall, her throat cut from ear to ear and her nightdress stained with blood. 2 drops of blood fell from the saturated blanket with a drip-drip noise that sounded like a leaky faucet. Scream after scream poured from her mouth, but she couldn't stop herself any more than she could cease wringing her hands. All along the hallway, doors slammed and footsteps came running down the passage. Within moments, other students had gathered in her doorway, and one of her friends gripped her arm with a shaking hand and pointed a trembling finger towards the wall. Her eyes widened in shock at what she saw. Then she fainted into her friend's arms. On the wall above her bed, written in her roommate's blood, were the words, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light?" Okay, this next one is called White Wolf. She snapped awake out of a deep sleep, screaming aloud in terror. In her nightmare, a large white wolf had been chasing her around and around the house, gaining on her with every step until it finally pounced on her and ripped out her throat. She lay shaking for hours, unable to sleep after such a terrifying dream. But morning finally arrived, and the day was completely normal. Celia forgot all about her dream until the moment her parents reminded her that they would be going out that night to celebrate their anniversary. Celia turned milk white. In her dream, the white wolf had come to kill her while her parents were out celebrating their anniversary. She started shaking and begging them not to go. Her parents were astonished at her behavior and finally shamed her into staying home alone that night. Fearfully, Celia locked herself into the house as soon as her parents left, checking every door and every window. She tried to laugh it off as she got into bed, and finally she shook off her irrational fear and fell asleep. Celia snapped awake suddenly, every muscle tense. She heard the tinkling of falling glass from a broken window and the snuffling sound of a snout pressed to the floor. It musky, foul smell of wet animal fur combined with the meaty breath of a carnivore drifted into the room. She could hear the werewolves panting right outside her bedroom. Then her body was out of bed, and she sped through the bathroom and down the back stairs. She heard a soft growl and then the sound of animal feet pursuing her as she raced down the steps and tore open the back door. A glance at the window beside her showed a reflection of the werewolf leaping down the last few steps behind her. Celia's feet screamed in protest as she ran painfully across the sharp gravel driveway toward the tool shed with its shovels and baseball bats. Anything she could use as a weapon. But the huge, red-eyed wolf was suddenly between her and the tool shed, stalking towards her. The cold wind pierced her skin as she turned and fled around the side of the house. She gasped as the white wolf howled and took off after her. She could hear the terrifying sound of the creature's pounding feet. Faster and faster she commanded her legs, panting desperately against the fear choking her. She would run around the house and back down the driveway, she thought with the clarity of sheer horror. She felt the wolf snap at her back leg and felt the sting of teeth. She put on speed. The werewolf veered away from her suddenly, and she felt a rush of hope. She couldn't hear the wolf now, couldn't see it in the cloud-darkened night. She kept running around the house, heading back toward the tool shed. To her intense relief, she heard the sound of a car coming down the road in front of her house. Her parents were back and would save her from the wolf. Then her heart stopped in panic as she turned the last corner and saw the shape of the white wolf as it stood, balanced on the porch railing, right in front of her. It sprang upon Celia, huge teeth tearing into her flesh and ripping out her throat. She fell under the weight of its body, hot blood spilling all over the ground, and died seconds after she hit the ground. 1 minute later, her parents' car pulled into the driveway, its headlights blinding the white wolf as it pulled towards the house. Frightened, the wolf backed away from its kill and ran away. it was a really creepy clown, was just walking down the street, and he kind of stopped in, like, right outside the house, there's, like, an intersection, and this clown just kind of stopped in the intersection. It was just standing there, and not really doing anything, I guess, and then he just walked away, but it was really creepy, just in general, like, nothing happened, or anything, everyone's fine, it didn't do anything, it was just very, very creepy. So this next one is actually about a ghost, and this happened a long time ago. I was in 4th grade, so 4th or 5th grade, and basically I was afraid of staying home by myself. It wasn't always that way, but like one day my mom came home to, like, I don't even know, drop off her stuff and change out of her work clothes, and then she was gonna go pick up my brother from the babysitter's house. So she left, or she told me that she left, but I thought that she was gone, but really she had just run down to get the mail, and then she was gonna put the mail back, and then she was leaving. So she came back in the house, and I didn't know it was her, and I basically freaked out, and I thought it was a robber. So after that experience, I didn't want to stay home by myself anymore. But I needed to. It was a necessary thing. So one day I came home and I was home alone, and I thought that if I closed myself in the office and just played Webkins the whole afternoon, that the time would fly by really fast and my parents would be home before I even knew it. So I closed the office door and I started playing Webkins, and I heard kind of like a little bit of a bump on the door, and I was like, oh, that's really weird. So I didn't really know what it was, and I kind of wanted to check it out, because again, like, I thought it was just someone who broke into our house. My mind was not even in the realm of ghosts, honestly. I just was scared of someone actually breaking into the house, because I could not defend myself against a robber, especially like when I was in 5th grade. So I was the only one there. So I opened up the door because I wanted to, like, check it out. But there was obviously no one there. So, like, that's really weird. So the way my house is set up is, like, upstairs, the office is down this way, and then there's, like, a hallway, and then the stairs go down over here. I'm looking at the camera to make sure that, like, my gestures are being seen by you. So you go down the stairs over here, but, like, this hallway is, like, there's a wall on one side where there's, like, rooms and stuff, but then on the other side of the hallway it just kind of, there's a railing and it opens up into the living room, and you can see the living room on the 1st floor, and then you can't see the kitchen, but the kitchen is open as well, like right into the living room. So I went to the edge, like right at the point where you can see into the living room, but there's a wall so you can't see down into the kitchen. It's really, really hard to explain, so I'm sorry if I'm not articulating it well. I'm sorry if you can't picture it. But basically I was standing right there because I thought that there was someone in the house. And there was, like, this sound. It was like a scraping sound of, like, something scraping. I didn't know what it was at the time, but when I figured it out later, it was the sound of a pen scraping across the kitchen counter. But I heard this scraping sound, and I basically freaked out, and I called my dad, and he came to pick me up. But afterwards, even once I found out what it was, I didn't, and I still don't understand how that sound even happened, because no one was there moving the bed. So it obviously had to be a ghost. Also, if you guys, like, are listening to this and you're like, oh, there's another explanation, you're a dope, please tell me, because it still kind of freaks me out. But this ghost that I'm assuming it moved it has actually, like, I mean, he's done some other stuff and we're, like, really cool now, was downstairs one day and there was like this crash, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. It's just ghosty fooling around. So I went upstairs to like try to see what it was, and my picture, only my picture, had fallen down. So that's the thing that happened. But I don't know, I'm not really